This is Tanya Tassoni, and this is about my wonderful life traveling the world on TWA. So come fly with me. Jumbo, that's Swahili for hello. Welcome back. Today we're going to take 3 trips to Africa in one podcast. And the first trip, Ethiopian Airlines came into our office and offered us a free pass from Rome to Nairobi, round trip via Ethiopia, Asmara. So when we flew TWA, and this was in 1968, I'm going to do 3 podcasts, 68, 69, and 1972. In 68, it was Joyce and Marlia and I. And when we arrived on TWA into Rome and transferred planes, then we flew on our way to Nairobi. Okay, so we had a stop in Asmara, went on to Nairobi, had a fabulous safari. And I'll get into photos and wonderful things about all of my safaris. But the best part about this trip was actually on the return. We came back from Nairobi and got on an Ethiopian flight and went to Asmara, Ethiopia. They took us off the flight, and that was because, pardon me, it was full out of there. So your space available. So they put us up in a hotel. Came back the next morning. We checked in. They walked us, this is unusual, they walked us out to the tarmac, and we kept looking around. All of a sudden, this band starts playing on the left of us. March out, make a right-hand turn, and they're playing out on the tarmac. And a little bit later, some military guys come out, and they're marching middle of the tarmac. They make a right-hand turn in front of us, and they get in front of the band. We still don't know what's going on. All of a sudden, a 707 stops. Okay, and lands on the tarmac. Okay, Grace. And the door opens up, and there's only one passenger. And this little guy with a safari hat gets off. You'll see him soon. And the people were going nuts. The thousands of, there. You can see the band. All the Ethiopians on the roof are just going, la, la, la. I mean, they are just going, we still don't know anything. They're not telling us anything. We don't know who's going to get off the flight. We thought it was a full aircraft. There's the military. That's how close they were to us. Thank you, Legacy Box, because they refurbished this. This movie is from 1968. Hello? And it's just incredible. Okay, so again, we are maybe 10 Americans on the tarmac, along with all these, the band and the military guys. It was, I mean, and the people are just going crazy. What you're going to see in a minute is really incredible. Joyce and I and Marlia were just so grateful to be there. I mean, it was just, and then I found out who this little short guy was. It was just really cool. But again, we didn't know. We didn't know actually until we got on that plane, which took us up to Rome. Okay, so there's the military. The band is playing. And there's a little podium where he comes out. (1968). He's going to be reviewing the troops. One little extra thing. When we rode the taxi cab the night before to our hotel, the driver was speaking Italian. Now, I speak Italian. I lived in Italy. And I was just amazed. Well, it turns out that Mussolini overthrew Africa, North Africa, and he overthrew Ethiopia. So that's why there's a lot of people speaking Italian today. I still can't get over how clear this is. Very hot. Again, the people on the roof are just going crazy. And here he comes. I didn't know it was this long. But it's a wonderful thing to have, I think. Okay, so here he comes. See where did you catch that? He was bowing toward us. Awesome. And then we flew home. It was a great trip, and this made it extremely special. It's a wonderful way to learn about history. Grace? So the second trip was with PK, and that was in 1969. Again, February, March, best time to go, because it's warm there. When you fly over, and we did, this time it was really cool, because TWA then started to flying into Nairobi. Our timetable. So we flew all the way into Nairobi. We stayed at the Norfolk Hotel. So if you've seen the movie Out of Africa, Meryl Streep at the end gets to go into this hotel. In those days, when the English had it, it was males only. And when you start out on safari, this is where you start out. So we're having dinner at the Norfolk, and I'm having this conversation with PK that the last time we went, I went, there were us three and four other gals from New York, and we were in a Volkswagen bus, and it was too crowded. Everybody had still cameras, movie cameras. So I'm telling PK, we need to find, because we're going to go on safari tomorrow, we need to find somebody that we can accommodate with. Grace? And about this time, I look over at the other side of the Norfolk Hotel dining room, and it turns out that John and his wife Diane, John Jr., Leslie, Kyle, they were all having that same kind of conversation, saying, well, we need to find somebody that's maybe just 2 or 3 because we've got so many kids. Well, it turns out that this is TWA's Captain John Graver. And he decided about the same time I told PK that I was going to go over and talk to him. We met in the middle. We went on safari together, and we've been friends ever since. It was a fabulous safari. Grace? Just outside Nairobi, when you go on safari, is the Mount Kilimanjaro. It's the highest mountain in Africa. And that first day is just an amazing thing because you see so many animals and in their habitat. Well, it wasn't too much longer. Maybe we were there for, I don't know, half hour. And we came upon quite a few elephant. And this one elephant started charging us. The safari was an amazing way to see animals. Elephant is Timbo in Swahili. There are no fences. Zebra. PK was saying that these animals are in their natural habitat and not in a zoo. And it's fabulous that way. So when you come back into Nairobi at the Norfolk, you get your bags, and then you leave the next morning and you fly to Tanzania for a 2-day safari there. And on that safari, we went into the Amboseli Safari tented camp. Now, the tented camp you had your tent, 2 people to a tent. The guides stay up all night to keep the fire going because that keeps the lions away. I can't tell you how amazing it is to be sleeping and hear all of the animal sounds at night, like they're right next door. So next to the tent is a little smaller tent. And that has your toilet. That's PK posing. And above the toilet is a bucket filled with water and a rope. And that's your shower. And this is me sleeping on our tent. Now, I know that these aren't really spectacular photos, but you got to keep in mind, they're from 1969. Amazing. So a little bit after that, on our way back to Nairobi to go to another part, there were these rapids, and PK wanted me to take her photo, which I did. And then I'm crazy because I love photography. I lay down on these rocks and I got my camera wet. Now, I didn't know it until I got home. It clicked the whole time. I had no film. All of my film was gone. I was so grateful that John Graver, he had a Nikon, I had a Canon. He took the same exact photos and sent me all the slides. So that's what you're seeing now. We had a fabulous time. It was great. We got to fly home first class. And then in 1972, Susie, Gert, Sonny, and myself went on the last trip. Did essentially the same thing, but you know, you never see the same animals. It's always a little more spectacular. We stayed at the Serengeti Safari Lodge and also the Kiakruk Lodge, and that's in Tanzania. And the Kiakruk Lodge I had, you can't really see this, I had a roasted leg of impala. This was, now you see animals all the time. You're not really on a road. You're just bouncing around a lot. But this leopard in this tree, we sat there in our Jeep, I bet, and the Jeep's top rolled back. And I bet we were there for, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes. And this leopard was looking for something, I guess some kind of prey. But all of a sudden, that leopard jumps out of that tree and starts stalking all the way around our van. And then he just climbed back up in the tree. You are in their territory. It is just, you're a visitor. I mean, it's incredible. It ruins you for going back to a zoo, I tell you. It's just amazing. So a little further down, these were lions sunbathing. You get so close. And you kind of forget that they're wild animals. So in between Tanzania and Kenya is Ngorongoro Crater. Ngorongoro Crater is 3 million years old. It's 100 square miles. And to get down, there's a zigzag trail, 6,000 feet, straight down, not straight down. And animals can't get out except the elephants. The elephants, and it takes them a long time to get in and out. So we're down in this 100 square mile vast, riding around where you wouldn't see a lot of animals right away. But again, this is the third time to Africa. And this wildebeest, very close, a wildebeest stampede. We just started driving almost up to them. And then, now, this is my third time. You can go on safari, I don't know how many times, but it's very rare to see a kill. And in Ngorongoro Crater, when we came across this wildebeest, there really were only a couple of hyenas that had taken him down. And our top came back. So we were there for at least 30 minutes. And I have that all on a movie. There was nothing left except a couple of bones. Just incredible. And then Olduvai Gorge. Dr. Leakey, who's an archaeologist, was an archaeologist. He and his wife were there when we were there. They were up high up on a hill. And Francis Bingle was our guide. I was riding in the front. Susie, Sonny, and Gert were in the back. And he's telling us, Dr. Leakey had discovered prehistoric human remains, human bones, that were like 3 million years old, 30 million years old. And then we stopped. And Francis said, now, don't pick up anything because they're looking over. They're still finding stuff today. So we get back in the Jeep. And here, my good friends have all picked something up. So I'm in the front seat with Francis, and Francis felt so sorry for me that we came across this rhino. This was in Olduvai Gorge. And a little bit later, he pulls over and he finds this jawbone. So this was my souvenir. And I have it today. My favorite animal is a giraffe. Twiga. They're so graceful, so beautiful. I wish I could convey to you that you're just kind of riding around, bouncing around, and all of a sudden you see fabulous animals in their own habitat. This is a baboon. I'm in the front seat. In Kenya, they drive on the left like they do in England. So Francis was driving in the right-hand side, and I'm on the left. Just an amazing thing. We didn't get out. Now, this is me and Francis, our guide. It was so fun. We always had wonderful guides, but this guy was the best. And he's with African Roadways. I've got to look that up. I don't know if they're still there, but I've been with African Roadways 3 times now. Okay, so we're done now. We're finished. We're driving along. We're going back to the Norfolk. We're going to get our stuff. We're going to get on TWA and we're flying home. Last day. We're sort of on a highway, but it's not, but we're going about 60 miles an hour. Okay. All of a sudden, Francis makes a right-hand turn, and on the left is a cheetah, the fastest animal on earth. They can go 80 miles an hour. Now, there was a lot of shrub and stuff, but we're bouncing around. We were going about 50 miles an hour. So there's this cheetah on the left. You look over to the right, another cheetah on the right. We're in the middle. Da, 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 da. And I have all that on movies. I'm telling you, it's just, amazing. So, Asante Sana is thank you in Swahili. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is the end. Kwaheri is Swahili for goodbye. And next time, let's go to Egypt. Be well. Kwaheri. Oh, and remember, it is not only about the wonderful places you went, it is always about the amazing people you met. Kwaheri.